I request everybody to please welcome the guests. Principal sir and our honorable chief guest, guests of honor, senior professor, faculty, research scholars and students. Today, we are gathered here on this prestigious occasion of second International Conference on Advanced Trends in Engineering and Technology, ICATED 2014, and also on the launching ceremony of International Journal of Inventions in Research, Engineering Science and Technology, IJI-REST. On the behalf of management, faculty and students of our College of Engineering and IT, I extend a hearty welcome to our distinguished guests, and I also take the privilege of introducing the dignitaries on dais. We have with us Professor Dr. M.B. Punia, Director, NITTR Chandigarh. He is the chief guest of Second International Conference on Advanced Trends in Engineering and Technology. We have also with us Professor Dr. Cesare Alabi from Polytechnic in Milano, Italy. He is the chief guest of the launching ceremony of International Journal of Inventions in Research, Engineering Science and Technology. We have with us Professor Dr. Ashok K.S. Bhatt from University of Victoria, DC, Canada. We have with us Dr. Rajesh Kumar from NIT Britain as guest of honor. We have also on dais Chairman Gagan for the Ara College of Engineering and IT, Professor Dr. Sunil Gupta, Convener ICATED 2014, and Professor Arun Ara, Organizing Secretary ICATED 2014. Now, I would like to invite the dignitaries present on dais for lighting the lamp to pay reverence to the I request Professor Dhananjay Gupta sir to please present the bouquet to Professor Dr. M.B. Punia sir. Thank you sir. I request Professor Dr. Sunil Gupta sir to please present the bouquet to Dr. Raj. I request Professor. Thank you sir. With this aim, college offers undergraduate and postgraduate courses in the area of engineering and management. The campus offers courses for BTech, MTech, MBA approved by AICTE, and the institution is affiliated to Rajasthan Technical University. Another benchmark achieved by the college is accreditation received for specific branches of engineering, organizes various workshops, training programs, cultural tests, and other programs such as Aryaratan, Shraddhanjali, Top Guns Party, Auto Ignition, Exergy, Exuberance, etc. college organizes different certification programs such as Oracle, Red Hat, Cisco, CSE, KTR, PLC SCADA certification, VLSI, and embedded certification, and AutoCAD. Now, I would like to focus on the second international conference on advanced trends in engineering and technology.
Its second international conference, ICATT 2014, on advanced trends in engineering and technology, and launching ceremony of International Journal of Inventions in Research, Engineering, Science and Technology to promote research activity among the engineers and industries and academia, so as to evolve technology that is useful for society. This journal will promote the new innovative idea in all fields of science, engineering and technology. Basically, this journal will help to bring both researchers in engineering and technology on a single platform, so that if anybody wants to integrate their idea with other field of technology, they can implement it through this journal and conference. First of all, a warm welcome to Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Ashok K. Bhatt, University of Canada, Dr. Cesare Lippi, Politecnico di Milano, Italy, Professor Dr. M.P. Punia, Director NITTR, Chandigarh, and guest of honor Dr. Rajesh Kumar from MNIT Jaipur, and the dignitary present among us, Dr. Anurag Agarwal sir, Chairman, Arya College of Engineering and IT, and Professor Dhananjay Gupta, Chairman, Governing Body, Arya College of Engineering and IT, and Professor Arun Aryadi, Organizing Secretary, ICATT 2014. I also welcome all the dignitaries of the dais, finally, faculty members, research scholars and students. We are grateful to all who have accepted our invitation to be the part of this elite event, and I congratulate the student researcher for the selection of their research paper in ICATT 2014. Now, I would like to give the thanks to Dr. Anurag Agarwal sir, Chairman of RF Group of Colleges, and Professor Dhananjay Gupta sir for giving me opportunity to conduct this second international conference on advanced trends in engineering and technology after ICATT 2013 in Arya College of Engineering, Old Campus. ICATT 2014 serves a premium international interdisciplinary conference in India. It is providing an excellent platform for academicians, researchers, engineers, students, and industry persons throughout the world to present, motivate, and discuss the new and latest technologies idea. It is also serve as a platform to give birth to new ideas and inspiring the person working in different field and area to collaborate for a better technology and innovations. It gives me great pleasure to inform you that more than 700 technical papers were submitted from various IITs, NITs, and government and private industry research organizations from India and abroad for presentation. After reviewers' comments, we have selected around 145 technical papers. We will have several invited talks by 5 keynote speakers who are distinguished scientists, researchers, academicians from India and abroad on various themes of engineering and technology. I say it will be a useful form to academicians, technology, innovation and policy makers worldwide for exchange of concept and emerging technology in the field. It will include a highly focused technical program consisting of presentations of regular and specialized track and technology and solutions from academic and industry. ICT will provide an international forum for the presentation of technology, advanced test, research and policies in the field of theoretical, experimental and applied aspect of science, engineering and technology. All the best for your paper presentation. Thank you. Thank you.
Asked to carry forward the Honorable Chief Guest of ICATT 2014, and I would like to introduce him. We have with us Professor Dr. M.P. Punia sir. He is a meritorious graduate engineer from MBA in Engineering College, Jodhpur in AP in 1985 and MTech in 1990 from IIT Delhi. He further secured PhD in Thermal Engineering from IIT Delhi in 1996. Professor M.P. Punia has 27 years of experience in various capacities in different institutions and organizations. As principal in Government Engineering College, Bikaner, keeping in view his further achievements, Government of Rajasthan assigned him another task for setting up of 3 other state government technical institutions engineering college, such as Center for E-Governance, Jaipur, which was completed during 2006-8, Engineering College Bharatpur completed in 2007 and College of Engineering and Technology Bikaner completed in the year 2007 and 9. Consequently, he was honored in 2008 by the Divisional Administration Government of Rajasthan. One more feather was added to his cap in the year 2012. He was appointed by the Government of India Ministry of Human Resource Development as Director of National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Chandigarh. Professor Punia has guided research at master's and doctorate level and published over 62 papers which find place in international and national journals. Keeping in view his meritorious contribution in the field of technical education, he was awarded Eminent Engineering Personality Award 2012. Presently, Professor Dr. M.B. Punia is the member of Senate, Thapar University, Patiala All India Council for Technical Education, Government Body of NC College of Engineering and Technology, Israna, Panipat, All India Board of Technical Education, New Delhi, and other organizations heading in education sector. To add to this honor of this event, we have another chief guest, Professor Dr. Cesar LLP. I take this opportunity to introduce him. Professor Dr. Cesar LLP received a degree in Electronics Engineering cum laude in 1990 and PhD in 1995 from Politecnico di Milano, Italy. Currently, he is a Professor of Information Processing Systems with the Polytechnic di Milano. Professor LLP is an IEEE Fellow, Vice President Education of the IEEE Computational Intelligence Society, Associate Editor of the IEEE Computation Intelligence Magazine, Past Associate Editor of the IEEE Trans Instrumentation and Measurements, IEEE Trans Neutral Networks, and member of other chair and other IEEE committees. In 2004, he received the IEEE Instrumentation and Electronics Groups of the National Aeronautical Laboratory, Bangalore, India, and was responsible for the completion of a number of research and development projects. After working as a postdoctoral fellow for a short time, he joined the Department of Electrical Engineering, University of Victoria, BC, Canada, in 1985, where he is currently as a Professor of Electrical Engineering and is engaged in teaching and conducting research in the area of power electronics. He was responsible for the development of electromechanical energy conversion and power electronic courses and laboratories in the Department of Electrical Engineering at the University of Victoria. He received the Excellent in Teaching Award from the Faculty of Engineering during 2008 and Brinton Fellowship for the year 2010, and he is authored and co-authored for more than 80 reviewed journal papers. He has presented more than 100 reviewed conference papers and is a successful supervised 10 PhD, 7 master students. Dr. Bhatt is a fellow of IEEE USA, Life Fellow of IETE India, and a registered professional engineer in the province of British Columbia, Canada. Introducing our honorable guest of honor for the event, Dr. Rajesh Kumar from MNIT Jaipur. He received a BTech degree in Electrical Engineering from National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra in 94 and Masters from Marvin National Institute of Technology, Jaipur in 97. And doctorate degree in Intelligence System from University of Rajasthan 2005. Since 95, he has been a faculty member in the Department of Electrical Engineering, MNIT Jaipur, where he is currently as Associate Professor. He was Postdoctoral Research Fellow with the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering at the National University of Singapore from 2009 to 2012. He has published more than 2020 referred journal and international complementary medicine Sri Lanka. His mission was to enhance the potentials of the group by venturing into multiple arenas of professional education with unmatched quality benchmarking. With the passage of time, the group has expanded due to its perseverance and dedication and has carved a niche for itself at national level. His creative instinct, research-oriented perspective, and an inclination for adopting the most modern high-tech education technique has made him a distinguished theologian, ascertaining success for aspiring youth who study in this group. He is a philanthropist whose humanistic attitude is evident in the various activities he undertakes for the downtrodden and the needy. He promotes the organization with blood donation camps, free education for the villagers, and various other events for them. He is an environmentalist who adopts the best practices to perceive the environment and also organizes plantation drives for this purpose. He also received the Entrepreneurs Award for his unmatching efforts. covering both researchers in engineering and technology on a single platform so that if anybody wants to integrate their ideas with other fields of technology, they can implement it through this journal. The vision of the journal is that supports high-level learning, teaching and research in the field of engineering, science and technology. Original theoretical work and application-based studies which contribute to a better understanding of engineering, science and technological challenges are encouraged. Professionals, engineers, academicians, technologists, students and freelancers are provided a research platform so as to develop new technique Western cater that needs to access peer-reviewed, interdisciplinary, biannual and full record journal focusing on theories, methods and applications in science, engineering and technology and relevant fields. The subject category of journal is science, engineering and technology. It aims to promote the integration of science, engineering and technology. The focus is to publish.
This is biannual journal. We have completed our first volume 1, number 1, April 2000. Very shortly we have completed and we have received so much paper from abroad and India. First paper from Canada, second paper from Malta, remaining paper from IITs and NITs.
So we have a whole college version, we have an online journal.
This is our chief editors, Dr. Anurag Agrawal sir, Dr. Dhananjay Gupta ji, Dr. Ari Gupta ji, Dr. R.C. Bansal from South Africa, Dr. Sheldon sir from Canada, Dr. Akshara from Singapore and me. And this is the multidisciplinary.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure that Department of Electrical, Mechanical and Professional Engineering of Arya College of Engineering and IT is organizing its second international conference on advanced trends in engineering and technology 2014. I welcome all the delegates from India and abroad for participating in ICA TET 2014. I am sure the practical experience, technical ideas, analytical results, and innovations from delegates shared during ICAT 2014 conference would be valuable for academicians as well as industrialists. This two-day conference would help students, faculty and researchers working in the area of engineering and technology to learn about the current situation of various smart technologies being used all over the world. It is appreciable that ACIT is enriched with dynamic, dedicated, highly competent and qualified faculty members for organizing such a technical international event, ICA TET 2014. I hope that all the participants of this international conference will have a very pleasant and enjoyable experience. I congratulate all the participants of ICA TET 2014 for their golden future and successful career ahead. At last but not the least, I would like to congratulate all the members behind the International Journal of Innovations in Research, Engineering, Science and Technology and open access peer review interdisciplinary biannual and fully referred journal focusing on theories, methods and applications in science, engineering and technology and relevant fields. Once again, I thank and enjoy 2 days at Arya College of Engineering and IT. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
So the guys and my dear friends, I congratulate the group of colleges to organizing the second event where different researchers from different domains they are getting together and sharing their ideas. wish all success to this conference. Thank you.
Participate in this international conference. Actually, last year for the first conference, Professor Sunil invited me, but I couldn't come because of the exams. So this time I am on sabbatical leave and visiting Professor in Bangalore. So he got rid of me, but no option I take this time. Anyways, I surprised so many papers and so many people attending this conference. Even I think sometimes I don't see so many attendees. And I am also happy that you are starting a multidisciplinary international journal, which is a big venture. I don't think it's easy job. So I wish you all the best. So I hope you will all participate and benefit from this conference as well as enjoy the conference. All the best. Thank you.
Everybody for this very warm welcome. I'm really honored to be here. Just looking at this, the future of science and technology in India. To me, science and technology are both very important aspects. So we cannot only look at technology, as we were saying before with Professor Agarwal, but science is very important. You know, science is pushing technology. And once technology is working, you realize that there are problems, and you want to roll back, and you go back to science. So it's very important that we have a conference, which is this one, where we have science and technology all combined together. So also on behalf of my position of Vice President for Education, I wish all the students at first, and then the esteemed colleagues, all the best for your future, technological and scientific future, and the best for this conference. Thanks so much.
Your Honor.
I
Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. M.D. Punia sir, Professor Dr. Ashok K.S. Bhatt, University of Victoria, BC, Canada, Dr. Rajesh Kumar, Professor, MNIT Jaipur, Dr. Anurag Agrawal sir, Chairman Arya Group, Dr. Dhananjay Gupta sir, Chairman Governing Body Arya College, Professor Sunil Gupta, Convener, ICATET 2014, our most valued faculty and staff members, participants from the different institutions, and my dear students. I feel honored and privileged to get an opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion to all present over here and to all who have worked hard to make this event a success. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and the students of Department of Mechanical, Automobile and Electrical Engineering, and on my own, I extend and sparing the time from his busy schedule. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation and thanks to Professor Dr. L.E.P., Professor Dr. Bhatt, and Dr. Rajesh Kumar for gracing this international conference. I am sure that all the participants will get benefited from the suggestions and the guidance of these delegates. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to Dr. Anurag Agrawal sir, Chairman of Arya Group, and Professor Dr. Dhananjay Gupta sir, Chairman Governing Body Arya College, for the perfect support and guidance they have extended to to all of us at every step of this event. I convey their commitment to the profession. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated professors and faculty members in the college who know their job and are result oriented. My special and hearty thanks to all our professors, HODs, faculty members and staff members for their efforts. I cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they have shown and the willingness they have expressed to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. Last but not least, I thank the volunteers and the students of Arya College for their support, dedication, teamwork and untiring efforts, and the wonderful audience who have turned up in such overwhelming numbers. We thank you very much for your patience and cooperation. Thank you once again. Thank you.
And giving the opportunity to be here in this wonderful institute. Looking after 9 states of India for technical education starting from J&K to UP. Under our region we are having 4,500 institutes of India in technical education. But Anurag, the level of energy and the enthusiasm and satisfaction which I am getting at this platform, I never got. It's a one selfishness of mine, because I am attached this institute since inception of this institute in the year 2000, and after that the new dimension which this institute has added in technical education of Rajasthan, it's wonderful. It's beyond comparison, and I hope in time to come this institute will be touching new heights in the area of technical education, not only in India, abroad also. You are having 4,000 students here. LP is coming from Italy. In his university, he is having 40,000 students. So 4,000 to 40,000, that should be the target, that should be the dream of this institute. And I hope your time leadership will be touching that height and helping this organization. NITR Chandigarh is with you. Yes. And Professor D. Gupta, just now, yesterday you came back from Chandigarh. And students, specifically students, I am congratulating many of the lectures Professor D. Gupta were delivered at NITR Chandigarh. All those lectures on basic economics will be available on YouTube. I think today, tomorrow, many of the lectures, and not only in our country, outside the country, people will be using his expertise. That type of teacher you people are having. So certainly this institute should feel proud. Everyone should feel proud that Dr. D. Gupta is part of this institute. As far as education of our country is concerned, in last 10 years, we have expanded exponentially. Huge expansion, specifically in technical education. But still, if you are comparing with US or UK, if you are comparing, or Japan, if you are comparing, or even China, if you are comparing, we are far, far behind. Our GER, gross enrollment ratio, it is only 19%. Meaning of their percentage GR is 87%. Our is 19, their percentage is 87%. Japan it is 60%. UK is 60%. Malaysia 50%. If you are saying China, it is 30%. Pakistan 5%. Bangladesh 2.5%. Sri Lanka 2.5%. So our target, not only touching to China's target 30%. Our target at 87%, which US has achieved, that target India has to reach. And the biggest strength which country is having, that is youth power. Around 40% of our population is having age that is less than 25 years. 25 years age group strength we people are having in India now. China is worried, even US is worried in this. And even if you see our past, sir, Caesar sir, if you see our past, our system of imparting education, it was unique. We were the leaders of the world. Around 300 years back, our GDP was 27% of the world. Whatever the world was having, out of that 27% we people were having, and biggest contribution in that GDP was our manufacturing. We were the leaders in manufacturing. If you know this Banarsi sari is 6-7 yards long, 1 yard width. That sari used to pass through this ring, you know. That type of manufacturing capabilities we people had. But in life, time changes, just like electrical engineers are knowing, the sinusoidal wave. No, sometimes it is going up, sometimes it is going down. For India, maybe for some time it may be down, but in time to come we will be touching new heights. Now our GDP contribution is around 6%. 6% we are contributing in the world's GDP. As far as total GDP of India is concerned, we are 11th in the world. So we like to touch the first three ranks which world is having, that type of system. Now education system, if you are saying, today we are discussing about engineering and technology. Around 700 years back, we were having Nalanda University. 700 years back, Nalanda University. In that university, 10,000 students were studying. That time 10,000 students. This huge institute is 4,000. Now you can imagine how 10,000 students where they were being grouped. 3,000 professors this Nalanda University was having. The library which this institute was having, it was 8-story library. From 38 countries students used to study in this university. So we people were the leaders of the world. And in time to come, in the next decade, I think same type of situation will be able to achieve. And जितनी ये बातें देखिए आप, देखिए आत्मा स्वरूप, if you are saying that Vasundhaiva Kutumbakam, everyone is the part of the Kutum, everyone is the part of the joint family. Istri Sanskrit, the women empowerment, the education and everything, strengthening of the women, we people are given. Then Silam Srosta Dhanam, moral values are the ultimate reason. And finally, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, everyone should be happy. Those were the slogans of this country. And you people should feel proud that you are part of this country. Even teachers should feel proud. Even teachers should feel proud that we are the teachers of Indian students. Never say in the class that quality of Indian students are poor. Never say. If our quality is poor, then those Negroes who are coming from Nigeria and Libya, what will be the situation of those students? Our students are far better. Just one example I'll speak for 35 minutes. I'm coming from Chandigarh, 10 hours journey was there. Even Caesar who had come from Italy, I think 8-9 hours journey was there. My journey was for 10 hours, so certainly I should be taking time. Excuse me. So, the issue which is being example I was giving, I was studying in IIT Delhi for my MTech. There were 18 students, and in IIT when you are studying, many students from outside countries they are also joining, from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan. One student was Babak Saidan. Babak Saidan, he was from Iran and he did his BTech from Lahore University. He was topper of Lahore University, Irani. Did BTech from Lahore University, topper from that university, and then he joined IIT Delhi for his MTech program. We were 18, and when he joined IIT Delhi, he used to tell the stories of that Lahore University. He was saying, sir, I was topper of that university, and at the time of examination, every student, the thinking of every student was that at the time of examination, we should sit very near to Babak Saidan so that we can copy. That type of thinking he was telling us, that in Lahore University, that type of image I was having. When it was in IIT Delhi, our efforts were that at the time of examination, Babak should sit somewhere away, otherwise he will be disturbing in an examination. When final result came, he remained at bottom of that 18, which 18th rank he had. So that's the quality of Indian student. Never say Indian students are pure. When you are taking class for 60 minutes, don't behave just like a robot. We people are not a robot. If your student is failing, suppose your student has failed, it means you have failed first. As a teacher, you have failed first if your student is failing. I was teaching in an NIT Jaipur. In first year when admissions are there, I was taking first year classes. When first year admissions are there, many students are coming from outside Rajasthan also, and when initial students are coming, they are facing many problems. Homesick they are having, financial problem, ragging, language, many problems are there. I was taking first year classes. After taking 1 month class, I have been reported that one of the students has gone in the hostel and he has committed suicide. When I asked what was the reason why he has committed suicide, students have told, sir, teachers are teaching very fast, even the language they are using, he was from a rural area, from southern part of the country, he was unable to understand English, he was thinking that except me, everyone is understanding, he was under pressure and he has committed suicide. So, still I am feeling just like a criminal, that if 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes my communication in the class would have been, then I could have saved the life of that student. So don't become robot. Go in the class, at least 5-10 minutes to please give to the students for their personal problem. If you want to touch this education and technology new heights in India, your students should be just like your family member. Not they are just like marketing people are not doing. They are not the stakeholders only. They are just like our sons and daughters. That type of behavior teacher has to have. And whatever you are teaching to the students, if you don't have mood to take class, don't go in the class. Today if you are feeling that, yes, I won't take class, I'm not prepared, mood is not there, elections are taking place, I don't have that type of mood, I won't be going in the class, don't go. We people are producing every year. 721 universities we are having, around 33,000 colleges we are having, and 14,000 ITI. This is technical education I am talking about, technical education. Yes, university, 700 universities we people are having. If you go in Singapore, 3 ITIs they are having, 2 polytechnics, 3 universities. We are talking about 700 universities. So you can assume that how big this education system we people are having, and contribution of Anurag you can assume. 4,000 students when they are studying, how big opportunity he is providing to the students. Government of Rajasthan can't do this type of infrastructure which says no. Multimeter, no. Any electronic component, diode, triode, IC, transistor, no sir. Resistance, no. Then what will be doing with you? If you are not saying, sir, theoretically I am quite sound, don't ask the practical question. That responsibility lies on us. What then 4 years we have done here? With students, what we have done? When students were with us for 4 years, it means something is wrong in our education system. So again, responsibility goes to teachers. What we people are doing. In laboratory when classes are going on, if teacher is sitting in a corner, if he is assessing the answer sheets and students are working on the board, it means there is a gap. Teacher doesn't have confidence. If he will be having confidence, no quiz, no bio, nothing will be there, he will be struggling with the students. That it means in many of the places, the biggest challenge which people are having, teachers even don't have confidence. If teachers are not having confidence, what actually will be producing? If you are saying equality, the talented manpower, the equality which can compete at global level, what will be having? First and foremost thing is we should have confidence in the teachers. So, foremost thing is students are having recorded our curriculum 32 hours teaching, 38 hours teaching in the classroom, heavily loaded, and teachers are at ease. And what management university is doing, they are looking to ask the pocket of the students the money to come out. We want to reverse this trend. We want to grow. So everyone we are saying to be applying this thing. MBA we are reading in Jaipur, another one we are reading MBA in Medta City, another one we are reading at Bombay, another one we are reading at Coimbatore. The requirements are different. The challenges are different. It's a huge country. So the specialization of the students also from 10th class itself for 6 years if you are doing this specialization in only one particular subject. Why IT students are in workshop, your mechanical workshop? Why this hammering work those people are doing? If they are in the workshop, they should be in electronic workshop or this hardware part, which is in the computer. That has to be. That planning has to be. And whatever curriculum we people are designing, it should not be according to the needs of the teachers. It should be according to curriculum if you can devise. First semester dream and everything of the student and fine. I asked from the students, Second question I asked from the student, what you are seeing? What you are seeing in this country? They said, sir, at the time of counseling we have seen Jodhpur and we are studying at Bikaner, 2 cities we have seen. I said, sir, Bikaner or Jodhpur 20 years back, even Bikaner Jodhpur was same. Today it is same, after 20 years it will be same. If you want to have progress, you have to see the changes. What changes are taking place in society. So the freedom which I have given to the student, anywhere in the country, in any IIT, any NIT, any activity is there, any competition is there, maybe seminar, conferences, you please give freedom to them and give money also. Their registration, their travel, their DA, food, everything.
The last thought, I should say that being Italian, I am not eligible to have many minutes because of the limited number of population. We are only 60 million. However, I'm also Vice President of Education for the IEEE Computational Intelligence Society, which is covering 48 nations worldwide. Now I'm meeting India. Okay, so I have all the time I need to give my talk. We spoke about learning, and my talk today will be about learning in a non-stationary environment. What does it mean? We are human beings, we learn something, but then we discover that over time, concepts might change. And then we might need to undergo a new training. We need to perfect our learning as time passes. For instance, the technology is changing over time. So what we learned 10 years ago is maybe not very effective nowadays. And that is a change in the environment. That is the concept of non-stationarity. Anyway, I will be back about this. So why do we need to learn in a stationary environment? Which are the methods? And then we'll go through this. Okay, so that is the outline of the presentation. I won't waste time on this, but I would like to start from the concepts. So we have our work, and our work is providing data, not information, data at an increasing rate. I like to make the distinction between data and information because they are not exactly the same. So if I say to you 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, that is data, series of data, which is the information content. The variability, the variance is limited, you see? Now, however, we like to put sensors everywhere. You build embedded systems. Systems dedicated to solve specific applications. To cover infrastructures in your iPad, in your mobile phone. The data, we see zeros and ones. So they are coming from the field, they are coming from our sensors. And we like to build applications. We want to look at the data to say, there are any images. We want to say, yes, there are problems. There is a cancer, there is not a cancer. So we build the classifiers. We want to identify people. We want to identify voices, speakers, and so on. We might decide to build adaptive filters. That is another type of application. So we have many applications which take advantage of incoming input data. However, in doing that, once we build an application, we are assuming two strong hypotheses which are hardly satisfied. The first one is the stationarity time invariance. I will go back to this concept. And the second one is the quality of data. So the data coming from the field, and implicitly we are assuming that those data are reliable. And then we build application on the top of that. Now, what is going to happen if there is an error in the sensor? What is going to happen if the data I'm receiving are wrong? I just see 0 and 1s. What is going to happen? Quality of data. Don't rely on the quality of data. If you build real embedded systems, as we do, but within my groups, we work on computational intelligence, on learning, and then we build devices to satisfy some real application. This is an example, just an example. So we live in North Italy or close to the Alps. I'm not at Tenzing, so I didn't climb Everest, but I'm a climber myself. We have all the mountains, and of course, as a humans, we like to challenge nature, to put houses very close to the rock faces. But by nature, they tend to fall. Now, time is passing, I need to change it. I need to retrain the concept. That is what we name in the literature gradual concept. Think of aging. But at the same time, you have a abrupt type of changes. This is me with a Photoshop after 1 second when I put the JFK face on me. So this is a limpy JFK. I did it back in the 50s, 1 second, Photoshop. It is a strong and abrupt concept. There is a change of an abrupt type. It is not a fall. A fall can be a type of concept. So if something is changing, what about our applications? It's not so trivial. Think of the electronic control module. You're cooling your car. You're driving. The sensor is getting older. The air-to-fuel ratio is not optimal. You consume more, you pollute the environment. Very simple. So just for the students which are here, just to say what does it mean stationary, time invariance, and technologies. So once we think of the concept of stationary, it means that you are looking at the process which generates data over time. And once you look at the data, they can be modeled as a random variable whose distribution does not change with time. That is the concept of stationarity. Time invariance. So a time, we say that the process is time invariant when its outputs do not depend on time explicitly. This is a time invariant process. You have studied that in system identification. It's linear. The next value provided by the sensor, for instance, depends on the past value. Learning. Well, maybe that most of you are familiar. I just want to spend 2 minutes on this concept. Learning something means that you have the process generating the data, someone is providing the data to you. You want to model the process generating the data with some function f. The function f can be a neural network, can be a linear model, can be any model. It can be a physical model where the parameters need to be adapted to the environment. Optimizing this functional provides you the optimal configuration of parameters which solves your problem. So once you learn something, you train your neurons so that the parameters associated with the neurons, impedance, are optimal with respect to the specific task. However, we don't have an infinite number of data. We have a finite data set. So instead of optimizing this one, you do, well, you put your hand into the mouth, and if you're a good guy, nothing will be happen to your hand. But if you're a bad guy, according to the legend, the hand will be chopped off. So this one is an oracle. It is saying, yes, you are a good guy, no, you're a bad guy. And active learning is all about having an oracle. Someone telling you, now is time to undergo a new training procedure. The window of the features, you combine them to see whether there is the need to change. If there is the need to change, given the concept detector, you adapt, and then you adapt your application. You might have information about when it is needed to train you, and then you go through this mechanism where you retrain yourself. You update the knowledge and so on. Features. Here, I was speaking about features. What is a feature? A feature is something which allows me to reproduce in a compact way the information content in the data. The features can be a data space, which means that you look at the data by themselves, and you extract something from there. Example. Not to break this as well. So, as an example, here we have the flow measurements from the pipeline and water distribution system of the city of Barcelona in Spain, which is the target is to detect a leakage in the pipeline. All countries have this program, India, Italy, US. How do we do that? Well, we receive from the field these measurements, you see. During the night, not many people are using water. Then in the morning, everybody is waking up. They have shower. Then over the day, there is a decrease. Thank you. During the day, there is a decrease in water, night, and so on. If I look at day by day, there is something which is very complex to be dealt with. But if I should extract the minimum during the night, I realize that that minimum is a random variable. That is the feature. It's a feature associated with the data streams. By looking at this random variable, I can tell you whether there is a change, which means a leakage, or there is no change, no leakage. The water distribution system is working well. What you do with the water, you can do that with the power distribution. Anyway. Conscious aspects, and well, that's it. So since I'm this one, you see not very much here, and if the question is to ask ourselves, do we need to statistical point of view, confident that you, of course, there are professors, there are supervisors, and so on. However, if I make a statement now, I'm making this statement with some probability. So I might make a mistake. The mistake is not an error, strong error. Maybe it is not the correct answer. So I might say, this topic is the up-to-date topic nowadays in Europe. But maybe that someone, if I'm a professor in some remote places in the world, Bangladesh, built something which was much better than what I presented here. The confidence changes with the time. So I'm not a guru, but in a world which
on stage to deliver the keynote speech on the topic, role of power electronics in alternative energy applications.
Energy storage, for example, electrolyzer, bidirectional power converters, these are very important in alternative energy systems. And for example, interfacing wind energy, utility line. However, I will give you a few things quickly. First of all, if you look at the energy system, so you have alternative energy systems, which may be DC or AC generated. Then you have a power converter, which is going to be a load for utility line. So you have a control here. Now, if you look at the overall system, the alternate energy sources have some efficiency, eta 1, power converter has eta 2. The load may be a fluorescent lamp or it may be a charging a battery. So in this case, the load has some efficiency. So your overall energy system efficiency becomes the product of these three. Now, alternative energy sources, they are improving. However, I don't have control because I work only in power electronics and power.
Dr. Bhim Singh received the Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical degree from the University of Roorkee, India in 1977 and M.Tech in Power Apparatus and Systems and PhD degree from the IIT Delhi in 1979 and 1983 respectively. In 1983, he joined the